The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you to our webinar today. This morning we are speaking to Adriana DeVito. She's from Solo Globe. And Adriana, we're so excited to have you here. I want to say welcome. Of course, I want to remind all of our attendees that even though you're automatically muted, we do have that question box that you can type your questions into. I'll be monitoring that throughout the presentation. So if you have any questions for Adriana, just type them in there. I'll call them out. And with that, Adriana, we want to welcome you and just, say hi, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Abby. It is so nice to be here. I appreciate the invitation. We've been working with ABC Computers for a number of years now, so we're always pleased and actually honored to partake in any joint marketing or information sharing sessions. So thank you, and I appreciate the great introduction, Abby. So everyone, as Abby mentioned, my name is Adriana. I'm the marketing director here at Solo Globe. Just to give you a little history, I've been at Solo Globe for going on 4 years. Prior to that, my experience has been predominantly in transportation and logistics. And I find myself here today presenting not really so much of the specifics of our solution, but perhaps more of what's happening within the landscape of advanced warehousing and what's going on in the marketplace and what is a typical operation and when would you need a solution such as a solo chain. So we'll begin. A little bit of a, we can see my screen. Oh, I'm a little frozen. Hold on. There we go.
Yep, looks great. We can all see it,
Just a little
Adriana.
history. Can you see it? Wonderful. Thank you, Abby. Solo Globe was formed approximately 14 years ago, and it was started off that the two founders are the older gentlemen in that photo you see, and their background is quite fascinating. They're like many people in the supply chain world. They got their training in the military. They were logistics captains in the Canadian military. They graduated from the Canadian equivalent of West Point. So you can imagine how tense things can get in any warehouse where you have just-in-time inventory and things flying in and out. Well, picture that scenario, but with bullets flying as well. So anyone can understand the urgencies of supply chain management. It's these two. When they left the military, they pursued advanced education and decided that they could implement their expertise in the civilian world, and they started Solo Globe. Originally, a lot of their customers were very large international corporations because that was their expertise, NATO, Bombardier. And then about 5 years ago, they decided to start marketing towards the medium to large size company segment and focus on the Microsoft Dynamics ecosystem. And since that time, we've experienced quite a lot of, we've created interest in the NAV community particularly, and I would say because it's the typical NAV client is a good fit for Solo Globe in terms of the size, the scope of the operation, and their growth ambitions as well. So basically, what is a WMS? Well, a warehouse management system in its basic form is a software application that manages the various operations, tasks, as well as activities of any moderate to complex warehouse or distribution center or many centers. And that's basically what a WMS is in a nutshell, and the operational objectives that we hope to achieve, that we do achieve when implementing a WMS, the main three key components are the optimization, accuracy, and compliance. So what that means is optimization. You want to do things right, and you want to do them right the first time. So it's knowing exactly, it's optimizing your space, it's optimizing your workforce, it's knowing what is where, the accuracy, it's picking the right products at the right time, creating the perfect order, because order errors are expensive to your business as well as your customers. And today's marketplace is extremely competitive. It's a global marketplace, and servicing your clients in terms of customer service, as well as, and that includes the products they receive, what they ordered, are they getting what they expected. This is what creates your legacy as a provider, whether it be a service or in terms of distribution. Now another area that's actually gaining in prominence is compliance concerns that a lot of our customers are dealing with, and they're not just large customers. They're medium-sized clients. If you're dealing with any kind of FDA-regulated product, which can be food, it can be anything that touches your skin, in terms of creams, etc. So the FDA is going to be monitoring you very closely. So you've got regulations to adhere to. You've also got customers who are holding you compliant. If you're dealing with large distribution company, like a Walmart, for example, they're going to have compliance constraints to put on you, such as types of labels they expect you to have on the boxes, and the order of the shipments are received, etc. So your own distribution network is going to be putting demands on you, and you need to be able to handle that in an efficient, cost-effective way. I was speaking with a prospect a few weeks ago, and she said, Adriana, our revenues in the past 3 years have doubled. They were doing extremely well. And unfortunately, their net profits have stayed the same. Well, this is when they start having to look at building efficiencies and investing perhaps in more IT solutions. And that's basically where we would come in as well, to help them become more efficient. So as they grow, their revenues grow, because that's the ideal. There's some interesting statistics that have come out. You want to say, where are you placed in terms of your warehouse? Do you need a level 1 inventory management system, or are you more towards a level 4? From what we've seen, particularly where you've got a robust ERP, a lot of the functionalities can be addressed from levels 1, 2, up to 3, level 3. Once you start getting into the crossover between 3, 4, and 5, you might start requiring an advanced WMS or WMS add-on. One of the reasons being, if you're preparing 1,000 lines and 5,000 orders a day, 500 orders a day, you don't want to clog up your ERP by processing those orders within the ERP. You want to liberate that. So if you're running reports, such what have you, you want to still be able to pick and pack and ship and get that product out to your customers in a timely manner. Times have changed. It's no longer do customers order and expect to receive a package in 5 days. You're talking about Amazon doing 1-day delivery, a same-day delivery, and this is creating a new standard that the population and the people who are purchasing are expecting from you. So these are some of the things to consider. What are the investments? Well, if you're looking at a simple, storeroom inventory tracking, barcoding, perhaps $5,000 to $15,000. If you need the added intelligence of wave picking and wave pads, you're looking at a minimum investment of $200,000. So you want to look at, where is your company now? What can you do? What's feasible? What do you want to put in your budget for the next 5 years? And you also want to look at your growth. Where are you now versus where you want to be in 5 years? Is your current system, is it good enough, or is it going to bring you to the next level? And this is what we always have to be considering. And sometimes, a $35,000 inventory tracking system is good, while, for example, a good example would be if you're new to the ERP world, you've just invested in ERP, and you need a good year to work out the kinks and the bugs and get comfortable with it and have your employees get used to the system, because it is a big investment of time and energy. And a WMS is an enterprise install as well. So you're going to want to have those same resources available almost 100% of the time to implementing a WMS. So you're going to think about that. You're not going to necessarily do the both at the same time. Ideally not. So that $35,000 system will bring you to a certain point when you want to start investing and saying, well, we've outgrown it. Now it's time for the added intelligence features. It depends on your needs. It depends on your direction you're going. And you might want to be able, even as your company grows, another option is to stay level 2 within your own operation and outsource. There are many, many terrific 3PLs out there who are willing to do the job for you and do it very well. So it really depends on where you want to go. Do you want to keep it in-house, or do you want to put it outside to somebody who's going to do it for you? And that will determine your level of investment. Implementation days is something to consider. You know, a low-level, a simple rudimentary system will take, what, 5 to 10 days to implement. More advanced systems, you're talking about 2 to 3 months. ROI is the same. You know, an ROI for level 1 storeroom, you'll probably get it immediately. Level 4, level 5, it could be 6 to 18 months. But as you grow, those the return on investment will also increase as well. And that doesn't mean you remove employees from your DCs. Absolutely not. They're valuable. They know your business. They'll take care of your products for you. But as you grow, you become more efficient at how you manage your employees. So at peak season, instead of having to hire 20 extra people, maybe you can manage hiring 5, because they're all optimized. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. You're monitoring it, and you're getting the most out of your employees, and your employees are happy. Some variations within your typical warehouse management system that we've seen, you know, you could be pure distribution. You can be distribution with value-added services such as a 3PL, or you may just do extra, you know, you have an e-commerce website and you do occasional kitting, you know, assembling gift baskets at Christmas time, what have you. Manufacturing, you have inbound and outbound as well. You can have manufacturing as well as distribution. And that's when your needs start to get a bit more complex, and you might need the bells and whistles of an advanced warehouse management system. So here we have an example of what a manufacturing execution system looks like. With it's something that we don't separate from our warehouse management system. So what you have is you receive your raw goods, and you have visibility of that, what's in your stores, your DCs, and then once you go through, you can monitor all the products as they run through the whips, and you can measure the consumption and know what's left, and you never have workstations standing idle because you've stocked them appropriately. You don't run out of materials because the WMS is keeping you informed of what's running low in terms of inventory, and you can track it to the delivery point. So you've got basic full supply chain visibility and control over your inventory and raw goods. Now, how that happens, it's not magic. It's basically done through mobile processes. And if you see in this picture here, you've got a young man holding a handheld scanner, and what he is doing is actually the system is prompting him on what to do. It's telling him, okay, now scan this item and place it here. And as the workflow is being dictated, it's also confirming his action. So if he makes an error, or he puts something in the wrong place, the system will prompt him. And that's where you get to know exactly what's where and pick and pack to the optimized accuracy. And that's all done through a process of configuration. The little screenshot at the bottom corner gives you a snapshot of what our solution looks like. In that little screenshot, the upper left is what the screen is on the handheld device. So that's what the employee is looking at. They're not looking at all that stuff because that would just be confusing. It's very, very straightforward, very intuitive, very user-friendly. But what you do see there, all that coding and so on, is the configuration of the solution. So you can basically, if you have a solo chain, for example, go in there. We take a non-modification approach. You don't have to modify code and such. You just go into the solution and reconfigure the processes as you need it. Obviously, this wouldn't be the person on the floor who's doing it. You would have a super user, you know, or someone highly trained in IT who's going to take ownership of that. Or we do it in the support function as well. But that's just to show you that the workflow is built in within Solo Chain, and it does vary depending on what the operation is, what the employee is doing. They punch in their username and their day begins, and their workflow is tailored to their job for that day. And that's where you also get your maximized efficiencies, because the system is actually telling the person, okay, now pick here, now pick there, put this away, go over there, and you can actually create multiple orders at the same time by keeping the employees in one place. They're not running around all over the warehouse like headless chickens looking for things. The system's telling them exactly what to do, where it's going, where to put items. So you end up with 5 percentage points of accuracy in your orders. And you're also making your employees very, very efficient, and this makes them feel successful. And a successful employee is a happy employee, and we all know happy employees are productive. So it really is a win-win. There is a change management process to go through. If you've got employees who've been in your warehouse for a number of years and are used to working a certain way, there is an adjustment period. But I've been in warehouses where you've seen people work there for 30 years and they're used to a certain thing, and in no time they actually become evangelists. Because I get to do a good job, and I get to be efficient, and I get to feel productive. That's actually this screenshot is just a blown up version of what we saw earlier. It talks about the workflow. That talks a little bit about what I mentioned just now, a zero modification approach. So all the configuration is within the actual WMS, keeping it very simple and separate from your ERP, so nothing gets touched in that area. This is one of my favorite screens, because that's my boss's head. And what he's done here is this is actually him at one of our customers, and he's demonstrating the dashboard. So what we have here is this client is Novexco, and they're highly automated, and they've had our WMS for a number of years. And what that does is, instead of having 5 team leaders or floor managers running around the floor supervising activities, they basically are like a control tower. He can sit in the office and monitor exactly what's going on the floor. And they've got a mezzanine 4 layers high, and he can see everything based on that dashboard. Find out where what needs replenishment, who's being productive, is there a line that's down, is there a packing station that's not being as productive, and you can create the KPIs as well for your employees for areas of improvement or career development. So all the information, everything that's happening in the warehouse is on that dashboard, and it's a real neat control tower. So here we mentioned earlier about some of the features that you get in a warehouse management system. License plate management becomes a very useful tool. You receive a pallet, you've got a unique barcode, a unique number placed on that pallet, and all the items on that pallet are attributed to that license plate. So you've got forward and backwards traceability throughout your supply chain with one barcode, and you can have thousands of tasks. By the time all those items are put away and picked and shipped out, you can have thousands of tasks, and they're all contained on that one barcode for traceability and quality control purposes. And here we go, because the employees remember earlier I mentioned how that employee on the floor has to log in to their mobile device. So what happens is you'll get visibility on what they've done. And here we've got an event management. You can see the code, move the load, move forklift, assign a picker, and it's the date, the time, the activity, and who has done the actual task. It's all there. And you can print out reports, you can build KPIs, you can build a history of your items. If you have high-value items floating around your warehouse, you want to be able to provide traceability within your 4 walls. This will enable all of that with the click of a button. And that's, again, the mobile productivity. This is what the screen would look like to the floor users. As you can see, it's very clear. It's very intuitive. The system is telling them right there, confirm the shipment information, and they will click on the right number, and it'll allow them to proceed to the next step. If they type the wrong number, the system will not allow them to proceed to the next step, and that's where you get your quality control as well, because we are human and we make mistakes. And this is interesting. I've voice and scan. I get a lot of questions about voice integration. Some people like it a lot. Some people aren't really sure about it, but I've seen it work very well. It works very well when it's directing the picking activities. That's where I've seen it most used. But again, it's a question of choice, but the options are there. They tend to be used in higher velocity warehouses as well, where you're picking many, many, many items, small items, and packing for end users. That's where I've seen it most. For receiving and put away, again, the mobile productivity will be directing the employees and telling them exactly, where items should be going, where are they within the warehouse, etc. Here we have some picking activities as well. And containerization, this is another feature which you can expect in a solid warehouse management system. We have one customer who does a lot of web fulfillment, and what happens is there's a barcode on this plastic container. It's a reusable container that floats around the warehouse on a conveyor system, and it goes in the right direction. Depending on what's on the barcode, it'll direct it to the right product center. And then the items are packed accordingly to the barcode. So there you can get an actual cross-reference with the sales order as you're moving along. And that's a really good way to double check and make sure that the items are going in the right way. Another thing that we do is the containerization. So let's say you've got a certain number of products, certain size. The system will actually prompt the packer on what size packaging to choose. So they'll have, for example, A, B, C, or D size packaging, and based on the size of the order, they'll be prompted to pick the box. So there's no packing, repacking, wasting time at your packing station. You want the product packaged properly and sent out to your customer. There's an example again. What's a computer mock-up of the container system moving throughout the warehouse, where the barcodes are validated against the one large one that stick to the box, and the sales order or purchase orders do a cross-validation as you go along. And that's where you get your order accuracy. And that's what people are expecting today. If you've got web fulfillment and you're shipping out a product to your end user, and it's, we have one customer who does, they're kind of like a Staples, but they're based here in Canada, and they have a lot of web orders. So they'll have a box going out with maybe a stapler in it, a couple of markers, highlighters, and Kleenex boxes. And, so it's not a high value shipment. So if you make a mistake on that order, you're missing something, or there's too many markers, it's not worthwhile to have the customer repackage it and send it back. That adds to your shipping. So you end up having them keep it, and that becomes a bit of what becomes a write-off. It's an expense for you, and there goes your profit on that shipment. So order accuracy with e-commerce particularly becomes more and more important. Here we have pallet consolidation as well, and that goes according to, you consolidate. The system will tell you, well, this pallet's being built for, FedEx. This one's being built for one of your LTL carriers. So the system will actually send the items to the proper dock as depending on who is going to be picking up the item in terms of carrier. That's where we also do some yard and dock management integration. We integrate with other providers who do yard management, dock scheduling. This is a vital component to running an efficient operation, and you need to have that flexibility. Here we have, we're going back to manufacturing, where it's a good example of the efficiencies that are inherent in a WMS. They do a lot of small parts. They're Bosch. They're a client of ours, and here you have the director of operations testimonial is pretty strong. He said he used to have workers running around with walkie-talkies. They had about 10 of them. And their job was basically like firefighters, running around seeing where inventory was low and replenishing quickly on the fly. And since they've adopted solo chain, they've actually gotten rid of that position. I think they have one person who oversees that activity. So they're actually in a proactive mode rather than firefighting mode, and they were able to take those employees and put them where they were needed most, not in a reactive position within the company. TMS, we also do some TMS integration with, for example, Descartes. That's a route optimization, also a valuable component, and you want to be able to integrate very seamlessly with your WMS. It's an integral part of your operation, getting products out there in a cost-effective way. And we do a lot of work with Roadnet Technology is a big company that we've done work with, but we integrate with many, many others. Carrier integration, that's where we will integrate with the various carriers, whoever the customers are using, FedEx, DHL, USPS, what have you, LTLs, and they're integrated into our solution at the shipping station. So you don't have your people in your warehouse working on various systems in one location, running from computer to computer. Everything can be done from one computer, where you have solo chain and it's seamless. It's one screen, and you can have the rate shopping built in. You can have the various APIs will talk to our solution and create the different labels for the various companies that you'll be using to transport. And it's all seamless to the end user. The people who are actually preparing the shipment want it simple and straightforward, and that's what we've provided. We could talk about system. Well, it's very. I won't go into too much detail about this, other than to say it's a web-based solution. It's configurable, so we stay out of the ERP. There's no modifications. It's very, very simple, very easy to use, very flexible. So as you grow, the WMS can grow along with you. Very, very adaptive. Once you've got because you've got the interface, you can actually build many types of reports. You can have graphs, you can have charts, you can have KPIs, very, very intuitive navigation, high use of graphics. This is good for your reports. This is good for, showing your bosses how productive your employees are on the floor. And this is all built in, analytics and so on. We've spent a lot of time in the NAV world. Again, as I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of synergies between the size of the customer and where they're going. I'm seeing a lot of NAV customers who are going from the upper end of medium to large size companies. One of the reasons for that is people are trying to diversify their business, trying to take advantage of the global marketplace, and that's where a solo chain would come in as well. When you've got multiple distribution channels, you've got your main DCs. You're supplying to your own retail stores, plus you're starting to do some e-commerce. Well, this can get, quite complex, and a WMS will help you manage all those orders and in a seamless manner. Another way that a strong WMS, particularly one coupled with the manufacturing execution system, is helping customers in the new era is this is a bit of a buzzword, and I think there's quite a strong future, and that's where we talk about reshoring. I'm hearing this word a lot, and you're talking about companies, particularly in the United States, that originally for cost-cutting initiatives or what have you, moved their production elsewhere, away from North America to various other countries where labor was a little bit cheaper, and now with quality control concerns, supply chain advancements are making it such that it actually can be more cost effective to bring things back to home soil. And how do you build in efficiencies and cost savings? Well, you do that by implementing some high-end IT solutions, and you have the machines and the system do what people were doing, and you don't have to rely on, well, actually, not only do you not have to rely on the lead time being extended, because customers now want their product same day or yesterday, and if you've got your product on your own soil, your ability to service your customers more quickly, more efficiently is increased. But there are added costs to bringing things back to home soil, and that's, again, like I said earlier, it's where you're going to start wanting to invest in some IT solutions such as a WMS. Some interesting statistics, if you need some concrete numbers, I've got some from the Warehouse Educational Research Council, and they talk about what are some of the warehouse management system benefits in terms of numbers. What kind of gains can you expect to receive? Well, one, you can increase your picking productivity by up to 40%. So your pickers are no longer, they're not wasting time running around. A 40% increase is significant. You can achieve more than 99% inventory accuracy and picking accuracy, because you can have people doing things faster, but if they're not doing things better, more accurately, you're not really gaining anything. So the goal is to make sure that things are improving in terms of efficiency, but accuracy as well. So inventory and order accuracy will go up to more than 99.9%. You can expedite your total inbound activities, how you receive, how you put away, where do things go. You can improve that by 30%. You can reduce your inventory level and capital expense because things are coming in and going out more quickly and efficiently. So you don't want to keep inventory for no reason. That just costs you additional money. Optimizing warehouse space. Outgrowing your warehouse can be an expensive endeavor. And once you have to start growing and redoing warehouses, and we've done that. We've actually grown and moved with some of our customers, which is fine. But a good WMS will help you optimize the use of space by up to 20%. Space does equal money. It's your real estate. It's valuable. A WMS can also help you eliminate the need for year-end inventory because your inventory, you're constantly keeping track of it. It's dynamic, it's moving, and all that information is fed almost in real time back to the ERP. So your whole company has a visibility on the current real-time inventory. So there's no more shutting down your warehouse for a couple of days every year because that'll hurt your productivity. You should be able to keep track of inventory in a real way with real-time conversation between your WMS and your ERP. And again, we talked about improved labor management. Manage your labor, know what's going on in your warehouse. Make sure your employees are productive and happy. And that's basically some of the gains you can expect overall by implementing a WMS. And that basically concludes the formal part of the presentation. Abby, do you see any questions coming in?
So far we don't have any questions, but again, we invite anybody who has any questions to go ahead and type them into the question box. I'll call them out and we'll get them answered.
You have to compliment you on your radio voice, Abby. Very impressive.
Yeah, that's right. I have a face for radio, Adriana.
Oh, I didn't see that.
All right. Well, Adriana, it looks like we don't have any questions. I guess you did such a good job at explaining. We just don't even need any more clarification.
It's a huge topic, and I welcome, my email is up there on the screen. I welcome any questions anytime by email or phone in. Go to our website, www.sologlobe.com, and by all means send me an email. I'd be happy to talk to anyone. It was a real pleasure. Again, thank you, Abby and ABC Computers, for inviting us today.
Thank you, Adriana. And I just want to remind everybody that later this afternoon we'll have this recorded webinar up on our website, just in case anybody missed it or you want to review it with anybody else from your organization. Thanks so much, Adriana. Thanks so much, everyone. You have a great morning.